Good morning, everybody. My name's Alyssa Cooper. It's noisy as can be outside, and this is Cooking in Quarantine. So today, I have been up and cooking a lot this morning. You know, it's my Friday because Thursday is the end of the week for me here on Cooking in Quarantine. So I got up this morning and started out a stock pot. So I have taken, I'm sorry, let's let those guys go by. Hello, Carolyn. I have taken here about a cup of celery, carrots, and leeks. So 1 whole leek, 3 normal-sized carrots, and 3 ribs of celery. Went in here into the pot to simmer down after I'd already browned chicken skin and pulled that out. So put the vegetables in on the fond, put the chicken, the not completely cooked chicken, back into the pot and covered it with stock. And I let that cook down just until the chicken was cooked through. And I have now picked my chicken here. Delicious. And so I could very easily just pop this chicken in here, throw any other kind of vegetables I want in here, and I'm going to have an excellent, excellent chicken soup. But I thought, remember we talked about learning how to make mother sauces, and so I just went and bought a pie crust this morning and I put it here into this little guy. I'm going to give it a couple piercings before I forget to do that. Not a bad plan. So there's that. So the other thing I did this morning was I roasted some mushrooms and some garlic. So here are my roasted mushroom caps, about a cup of that. I've got here also a cup of peas that I'm going to add to this when I add the chicken in. But the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to make a mother sauce. So last week when I made the amazing potato soup, I made a bechamel. Well, today I'm not going to use milk with the flour and butter. I'm instead going to use this little stock that I've made from the roasted garlic and the mushroom stems that I also roasted. And so that is going to be a super flavorful broth here that will make my thickening sauce that's going to go in here with the soup so that it gets thick enough to be either kind of a creamier, richer soup, but it'll also be thick enough to go in here into my pie crust. And yes, I did cheat and get a Pillsbury pie crust, but I find that they're really not too bad. And so when you consider how much longer it would have taken me this morning to also make that, I just didn't have the time. So in here was garlic, some thyme. I took some of the stock from the stock pot, just because I'm out of stock. So let's see if there's any more juice to come out of here. There's a little more juice to come out of here. There we go. So this is going to be super, super flavorful when we make our thickening sauce. So what do you need? We need equal parts of butter and flour to start, and I actually need this pot because this is what I'm going to have to make this in. So let me wipe this out pretty quickly. I could probably use some new pots. Hello, Jennifer. And here we go. Get all of that muck out of here, and I'll toss that away. And now rinse this pan out real quick. Ah, beautiful. It's all going to be the same flavors going right back in here, right? So doesn't require a super good clean, but I don't want the pits of sticky garlic to cook even more. It'll just take me 10 times longer to clean it up. There we go. You know, haven't had a dishwasher in more than 25, 6, almost 27 years. So, and I realized this morning when I went to put this pie crust in here that I don't own Pam, and my mother is a Pam addict. She, every time I go to make something in her house, she's like, did you spray it with Pam? And I'm like, no, because I forget about Pam. So let's start here and see what we've got. I have some butter here, and I'm going to take, I know that 1/3 of a cup of, how much of this do I have? Let me see how much I have here. I have about 1/2 cup here. So I'm going to go 1/4 cup of butter. There we go. Cut that out. Put my other piece of butter in my little butter saver. And I'm going to put this in here. I'm going to get my little whisk because you know I like to, or not my whisk, my sifter, because I like to sift my flour into the butter so that I don't go too fast and end up with lumps. Because, you know, I may be here pretending like I know how to cook, but in reality, I just do not have the kind of patience that it would really take to be a good cook. My burner doesn't want to light, so let me see. Oh, Lord. I'm looking. Isn't there a lighter somewhere around here? Matches. I'll be right back. Dum, 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 dum. Is that? That's a match. I love it. Here we go. Now, maybe I won't blow up the whole building. So let's see. Da, 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 da. There we go. Now it's good. I should have one of those big boxes of matches here. But there we go. So now I need to measure out, while my butter is slowly melting, I'm going to measure out 1/4 cup of flour to match my 1/4 cup of butter. I'm going to set my pie crust aside so it doesn't get in my way. And here is a measuring cup, and that's 1/3. So this baby might be 1/4, and it is. Beautiful. I'm going to take a little plate so I'll catch all of my flour when it goes into here. And I think I told you all that I've learned about King Arthur 1-to-1 gluten-free flour, and it really does. When you're making mother sauces, it really does work beautifully. You don't really see any difference. That's a little shy from 1/4 cup. If you were my little sifter that was just here in my hand not 2 seconds ago. Ah, here it is, wrapped up in a towel, getting dry. Beautiful. All right, my butter is right on the edge of starting to get a little foamy. So let's start sifting. There we go. Get that all mixed in there. Nice and foamy. Here we go. Keep it moving, they say, right? That's the most important thing about making a sauce, right? Making a roux, that's really all I'm doing right now is making a roux. Butter and flour is a roux. And depending on how much you let the butter solids brown has a lot to do with your final gravy, right? Because that's all these all are really, is a thickened sauce. So it's really just a gravy. And now I don't want this to cook too much. I want to start getting my juice in here before my butter starts to brown too much. But I don't want to undercook the flour, so I'm going to give it just a couple of quick more. And now I'm going to start slowly adding this delicious, oh, it likes that. That's a pretty sound. And it is thickening up super fast. Here we go. And if this isn't enough stock for this, I'm going to reach right in here into my little pan over here, and I'll steal some more of this. Steal some more of this because this does need a little more juice before I start adding it into the other. So that is super creamy and it's just nice and light, right? So that's a velouté, see? If you took French in school. So now I'm just going to whisk this right into here, and it is suddenly hotter than a whore on dollar day, one of my favorite sayings. But we're going to whisk this right in here. Get all of that out of here. Nice, 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 nice. Now I'm gonna have to turn the AC on because you can see I'm as hot as can be. But under all these lights, it gets pretty hot in here pretty quickly. So I'm gonna have to get here's my nice, get this all cleaned out with the spatula. Don't want to waste any of that butter and the flavor that came out of that sweet little homemade, beautiful homemade stock that I made, right, with the mushrooms. So mushroom is nothing but umami. I want to take my clothes off. I'm so hot right now. Let's see if I can pull my sleeves up enough to cool off my wrists enough to not burn up. All right. So now we're going to turn this on, if it will come on. I might need it. Ah, that one was kind enough to come right on. So now we're going to let this come up to heat so that it will start to thicken this whole pot of stock, right? So that's going to start to thicken up, and as we're doing that, I'm going to add my mushrooms and my peas. Perfect. And we're also going to add the chicken. And this is all going to coat up with the stock. It's going to get stickier. I've made the pieces kind of nice and big of the chicken, so they'll be really great mouth feel. And I'm just going to let this move around a little bit, get everything incorporated. And then, where we're doing that, look, it's in jail. Got a piece of chicken in jail. Here we go, get that out. Perfect. So, now, hands clean. See, you can literally see the sweat on my face. That can't be pretty. Let me fix that. Ah, much nicer. Ah, to be a certain age and hot all the time. So now the next thing I'm going to do is, while this is cooking a little bit and thickening up, as it's warming up, it's going to thicken up. Like I said, I've already got my first pie crust in here, and I got a second pie crust, so I figured, why not do something with that, right? So, let's see. I can't see anything. Let's see who's here today. Hey, Kimmy, how are you? Hello, Janie. Hello, Margaret. Hello, Jennifer and Carolyn. Hello, everybody, and thank you for being here. So this is so much in this pot. I'm definitely going to have some soup and some pot pie. So here we go. I always look at those people who are so creative and so have such great attention to artistic detail, and they make, pies that are covered with like little flowers and daisies and tulips and ivy and all kinds of things. And I am always like, oh, I wish that I were that person. There's always at Christmas time a video that comes out of all the things you can do with, like, cinnamon rolls out of tubes and things like that. And I'm like, I wish that I was that person who could make beautiful, like, braided breads and stuff like that. But you know what? The Christmas season is upon us, and so we could start looking toward that kind of thing. So I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna roll it out a little bit more, because I do want it to kind of, hopefully, since I can't make things pretty, I can make them rustic looking. So, and this is me about to throw this off the edge. So let me try that. This out a little bit more. Ta-da! Make it a little nicer here, because I'd like to kind of have, when you do like a rustic tart where you just put the pile the stuff up and then fold the edges over. I'd kind of like to have a look like that if I can with this. So we'll see what happens here with this. So I'm looking here. This is just starting to simmer over here. So let me get a big spoon. I have not enough room. I can't do anything without moving too many things. So here we go. Here's a nice big spoon. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this and I'm going to drain out and make not very, very wet pieces or spoonfuls of it, because then I'm going to go in and put a little more of the juice back on the top. but there's lots and lots of chicken, lots of mushrooms and leeks, and pieces of carrot and peas, and all kinds of stuff in here. This is absolutely, I think, going to be wonderful. I saw yesterday that people who have diets that are rich in chilies, so putting crushed red pepper on your pizza, those kinds of things that will bring chilies, heat into your food. Those people have it was something like a 47% less chance of heart disease. So there's chilies in here. So now I'm going to take a little of this stock, and I don't want to overcook this. So let me take my pan back, give it a quick rinse. It's not going to kill anybody. And I'm going to take some of this stock out of here and super thicken it really fast. Let's see. Come on, baby. Let's super thicken. I need a glove. Here we go. Okay, yeah, this is going to be amazing. Here we go. So this batch right over here. Fire it up really fast and get it super thick. There we go. So I'm going to walk away from this. No, I'm not going to walk away from this. I might tidy up for a few minutes because it's going to take a second for it to boil. So here we go. We've got a lot of nice vegetable and chicken down here in this pot, in this pie crust. And then this looks great. I'm going to let this stay because this is going to be my soup later. This is going to be lunch today. It's Hairdresser Thursday at my house. So when my friend gets here, we'll be having our hairs did. It'll be a nice day. This is really great. This is slowing down and the thickening is coming up nicely. So this should come up super fast and thicken up. I just don't want to have so much wet in the pie crust. I want it to really be stickier and thicker for the pie crust. And it's coming along. Da-da-da-da. This needs a top because it has to go. And hello, Stanford. It is always so nice to have Stanford in the house. My tiny little, sweet tiny little now after 87 years wet town. So congratulations on not giving all of your liquor money, tax dollars, and profit away to other counties, right? That's the smartest thing. And you know, like they say, if you don't want to drink, don't drink. That's a pretty easy way to handle that, right? So, this is, all right, that looks really pretty nice. And I think I will put that here. Let's turn that off. And then I've realized I have an oven filled with cast iron. So let's get these out so that we can think about baking over here someday soon. And I'm going to pour this right in there. That's all nice and thick and sticky and pretty. And now I'm going to bring this back over here. This is me. I'm gonna do something terrible here if I'm not careful. All right, so now I'm going to take this and lay this down in here, and now I have room here. So like I said, I want to take this, and now you can see, here we go, and then fold these edges over so that you get that nice kind of rustic look here along the edge. And I've already pinched that just a little bit with the second crust under here. Pinch that around. You know what I didn't do is make an egg wash, which I probably should have done. So let's pinch it all closed, pinch it all under, make it look pretty but rough. I like it pretty but rough, right? There we go. And then let's see, I think that what would be a great idea is a little egg wash and a little bit of, oops, things are falling like crazy. got them. Here we go. And I could probably take a little piece from here because a couple of spots are a little thin. So I'm going to take this and put that one right there. That looks nice. That's going to cover up that sort of thin spot. And take this little extra bit and cover up that tiny thin spot. And I guess I'll need a little something to whip an egg up in. Aha. So, and nice egg. And I guess I need yet something else. This only having one drawer really is a pain in the tuchus, I have to say. Here's another funny thing. I realize I have not gotten a new pastry brush. So my pastry brush is in two pieces. But watch this. What is that? Nice. There we go. So just a little nice quick brush all around of the egg so that this will brown nicely, right? Real pretty when it gets all done, because really what you're doing here is you're just really cooking the pie crust, right? Because everything else is already cooked. And so for just a nice little, I'm going to give a little crack of some salt on top, and let's see, a little bit of garlic powder. Beautiful. And I have this onion stuff that has a little color from Trader Joe's, so that gives it a little kind of parsley pop here across the top also. And now I think we've got what's going to be a really pretty little pot pie. So I'm going to pop this. Now I couldn't preheat the oven because boy, it gets hot when I preheat the oven. But I'm going to stick this in the oven. I'm going to watch it probably about 20 minutes at a time. What does this say for pie crusts here? 9 inches, 450, 10 to 12 minutes. So I'm going to watch it about every 10 minutes at a time and see how it's browning up and that kind of thing. But that's really all there is to this. So you can kind of do this with anything. And one of the things I was thinking is you could do this same thing and thicken it up really nicely, put it in a pan, cover it with garlic mashed potatoes. Who says that shepherd's pie can't be something else? It's literally about the meat and the vegetable and the mashed potato on top. I would totally take this and make the other half of it into a shepherd's pie tomorrow. How easy would that be? Just make whip up a little batch of mashed potatoes, pop it in, brown, put a little cheese on top. As I heard Ryan Seacrest say this morning, crank it up to broil right at the last minute so everything gets bubbly and brown. That's what I would do. So guys, that's what I'm doing today in my kitchen. As a matter of fact, I'm done in my kitchen today. So I'm going to remind you, it's a weekend ahead of us. Take care of yourselves. Don't lose your minds. Don't get anxious. Don't go crazy. The adults are in charge. We've got a coronavirus task force that is actually working was going to work to try to keep us from dying. And I think that that's a really good thing and something to give us a lot of hope. So, cook something good to eat, get a little exercise, and do something kind for a neighbor, and you will feel like a new person by morning. I love you all. Take care of yourselves. Until next week, we'll see you for some more soups, chilies, and stews. Who knows what I might make. Ciao, guys.